Hello, my name is Sarah Proffitt, and you are here because you are looking to connect with your spirit guides. If you are not looking for that, you are in the wrong place, and you might want to scoot your little booty on back and look at what's going on because you are in the toolkit of how to connect to your spirit guides, okay? My name is Sarah Proffitt. I'm a spiritual advisor and psychic medium. Any questions on those things, feel free to email me or connect with me on Instagram or TikTok or somewhere. Ask the questions. If you don't ask, you won't ever know. Anyways, we're going to talk a little bit about how to connect with your spirit guides, who they are, what they are, all of the things, okay? Spirit guides, all right? You are in the spirit guide toolkit, okay? So this is one of two things that you're going to have to know is that you have a meditation that you can do, you have some journaling exercises you can do, you have this video to watch, and there might be a few other things in that toolkit that I have put in after making this video. So, you have lots of ways to connect with your spirit guides. And then of course you have yourself. You have yourself, which is the number one thing that you need to connect to your spirit guides, okay? All right, so let's start. Let's get into it. This is a taboo topic, okay? So connecting with your spirit guides might be a little taboo for you. You might think to yourself, am I gonna look crazy? You might. The answer is yes, you might. So this is very important to remember because you might look a little crazy. What I tell people when they want to connect with their ancestors, who could be a spirit guide, okay, it could be an ancestor, it could be a deity, it could be an energy, it could be a light being, an animal, all sorts of things, okay? All sorts of things can be your spirit guide. But what I tell people, if you want to connect with your ancestors, this is the number one thing I tell people. I said, sit down and have a cup of coffee. We're having iced coffee today. Okay, but you sit down, you make them a cup of coffee, you make yourself a cup of coffee or tea or whatever your preference is, okay? Maybe you're gonna sling back some beers, I don't know, okay? I don't know what your ancestors like or your guides like or whatever it might be, and you're just gonna sit down and have a cup of tea with them, okay? That's number one. That's not what I came here to say, but I did want to tell you that it's that easy. Now that I have your attention, it is that easy to sit down and have a cup of tea with your guides, okay? You don't have to do any elaborate ceremony or ritual. And in fact, if that is the only way that you connect to your guides, I would rethink that, okay? Because we want to be able to connect to them quickly and efficiently because we're busy. We got things we got to do. If you're here, you might be a mom or a business owner, okay? And if those are your things, you don't have a lot of time or space, okay? So you want to be connecting quickly and efficiently and doing your spiritual practices in a way that feels in alignment with your life and that feels congruent with all of the things, all right? And that includes connecting with your spirit guides. So your spirit guides are like a council that we have. They are all over. If you can imagine, there is just a council behind me, okay? It's filled with my ancestors, any deities that I might be working with, or spirits, or all of the above, animals, all of the above. They are here behind me and they are ready and willing to help and support me at any time of the day. And you have the same thing, okay? Now, depending on your belief systems, your values, your religion, all of that, it might determine who your spirit guide is or what it is. Maybe your spirit guide isn't any of those things. Maybe it's God. Maybe it's the universe, okay? So when we talk about spirit guides, I want you to know that you are defining what that is and what that isn't for you, depending on your value systems and your beliefs. And this is so important to remember because spirit guides can be one thing. It could be God, that's your only guide and that's who you're using. Great. I'm going to give you some ways to connect. Or you're like, I'm open to connecting with my ancestors. I'm open connecting with animal or plant spirits. I'm open to being guided by whoever's going to guide me to where I need to go. We don't want to say whoever because we don't want anybody coming in, but you get the picture here, all right? So here's the thing. In this modern age, okay, we're not connecting with spirit guides often. We don't talk about it. We don't use it. But if we go back not that long ago, okay, we're talking 150, 200 years, and even in other cultures and other countries around the world, people are connecting with their guides on the other side, whether that be their ancestors, whether it be a deity that they're working with or an energy that they're working with. People are using this and using these connections to help with their life, all right? So spirit guides are powerful energy and they want to help and support you on this time on earth, your time on earth. They've already had their time on earth. They want to help you on your time on earth, okay? So what are they? Who are they? Who is your spirit guide, I should ask? Well, you're going to find that out after doing your meditation. And I want you to remember, the meditation that you're going to do, you might have to do it over and over and over again, okay, in order to meet your guide. Meditation might not even work for you. Maybe you try the journaling exercises, and maybe the journaling exercises, you're feeling still a little bit disconnected. Maybe you need to go on a walk or have a cup of coffee or have a cup of tea. It is all of this, all the things that I'm giving you, you can use all of them or just one of them or a few of them. It's up to you. The world is your oyster. The spirit guides are your oyster, okay? You can, however you feel comfortable with connecting to them, that's how you're going to connect with them. And I really want you to remember this, that it could take some time. The number one thing you need to remember, this is a relationship. So like any relationship, it takes time to build. It takes time to grow. It takes time to feel safe. It takes time to feel connected. This is so important for you to remember because it is a relationship. And so when you're building a relationship, like any relationship, we want to make sure that we are, connecting in a way that feels good, and we don't feel like we are teenagers in high school, like, where's my guide? Okay, don't feel like that. It'll come. I promise it'll come. All right. So let's talk about how, because you're here, you're like, okay, I get it. How am I doing this? Number one, try the meditation. That's the number one. Just try the meditation. It's a quick meditation. I think it's like 10 minutes or something. So it's quick. It's not that long. And I do recommend that you do it when there is here's what I recommend for the meditation. If you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling stressed, if you're feeling like, oh my God, I can't even think, that's not the time to do the meditation, okay? The time to do, if you can wake up early in the morning, if you're a mom, if things are going on in your life, wake up 20 minutes before everybody else, okay? And then do your meditation then, or when you're going to bed, or whenever. But do it in a time where you don't feel rushed, where you don't feel like someone's going to come barge in on you. Like, do it where you feel you can just relax and be at peace. Now, if you're somebody who's like, I don't ever feel like that, then there's some more support that you might need, or resources that you might need. And so look around on my website, see if you can find anything. You can message me. But if you're feeling really overwhelmed, you're feeling all the like really tight and like, that's not the time to do a meditation to meet your spirit guide. You need to do a meditation prior to that that's going to relax you, and then meet your spirit guide. So that's number one, all right? So I want you to remember, when you're doing this meditation, nothing might come through. You might not experience anything. So do it again, and then do it again, and then do it again. If it's still not working, then you're going to try some of these other things to connect to your spirit guides, all right? So the second thing that is, like, we can ask our guides for signs. So if you've been around the block here in spirituality, you have heard of angel numbers, okay? You have seen those on the license plate, 333, all right? Or maybe you look up and you see a sign and it says 555, okay? Those could be signs from your spirit guides. But what I want you to remember, let's take a pause for a second with the signs, okay? Pause. Not every sign is meant for you. All right. So if you're somebody who's like, I see angel numbers all the time, I know exactly, that is going to get confusing, and you're going to get frustrated because you're going to be like, what the fuck are you trying to tell me? Okay. I've been seeing 111, 111 all the damn time, and I don't understand what you're trying to tell me. That's because you did not ask a question, and you did not ask for a specific message or sign from your spirit guides or from your guide. Okay. What you did was you just said, give me a sign, and they gave you a sign, and you don't know what it means. Okay. You feel me? So before we get a little crazy with asking our guides for signs, let's make sure that we're being specific about the sign that we want, and we're being specific about the question that we want answered, okay? And we know when we see that sign, this is the answer that we want, okay? These are very, very important things to remember, because otherwise you're going to be, one of the things I like to say is feathers, right? I love finding feathers and they mean something to me. White feather means something, and then like a gray or darker feather means something else. You get to pick your own meanings, or you can look up a meaning that you feel is good for your culture or for your value system, okay? But if I just said, oh, I see a feather, I see a feather, I see a feather, and I'm like, I'm seeing feathers everywhere, but I didn't ever ask a question. Okay, you're here, and what? What do I get from this? Okay, you feel me? Are you feeling me on this? Okay, so when we're asking for signs, we need to make sure we ask a specific question. So In business, in my business a lot, I will ask if I'm feeling like my intuition's feeling a little cloudy, I'm not really sure where my next step is going to be. What I will say is, hey, send me a white feather today if I should move in this direction. And then that is it. I leave it at that. I'm not searching around everywhere for the white feather because that's not how this works, all right? So let me tell you a little story because stories always help us connect. I remember I was in a place that I was feeling very overwhelmed, okay? I was feeling like I'm not sure I want to do this business anymore. I don't know if I want to help people anymore. I was what I was telling myself. And I said to my guides, I said, if I'm supposed to be doing this, if this is what I'm supposed to be doing, in the next few days, send me a white feather. And it had been a few days, nothing. So I said, okay, it's not meant to be. This was a few years back, all right? I said, it's not meant to be. I'm going to shut it down. I'm going to shut her down, okay? I'm going to shut my business down. And I started to kind of take those steps to be like, okay, what is next? What am I going to be doing? I'm going to shut the business down. I'm going to do these things. And it had been days since I asked the question, past my time limit of when I wanted the answer. And mind you, sometimes they don't give you the answer right when you need it because they need you to experience some sort of feeling or emotion or whatever it might be. And I opened my purse and there was a white feather in there. Obviously, tears. But really, I thought, how long has this white feather been in here? How long has this feather been in here? Who put it in here? Where did it come from? Okay? What's going on? And I'm telling this story because I want you to remember that I was going on walks. Okay? I'm like, I'm finding this fucking feather. I'm searching. I'm fucking Nancy Drew. I'm investigating. Where the heck is this white feather going to come from? As soon as I released the idea, it was right there in my purse. This is important. Another way that we can communicate with our spirit guides is through dreams. I used to have crazy dreams. I don't have so much anymore because I do like my sleep and I don't want to have crazy dreams keeping me up. But dreams are one of the ways that your spirit guides can communicate with you and that they can connect with you. You can also tell your spirit guide, I don't want to be communicated in that way. Okay, so can you communicate me in other ways? Remember, it's building a relationship. So I'm going to share one of my favorite ways to connect with not only nature, but your guides. And it's called Nature's Oracle. It's one of my favorite ways to connect. And I share it anywhere I can share it, I share it. And what I do is you ask a specific question. Like you would, I don't have my Oracle deck. Oh, yes, I do. It's right here. It is right here. So we all know what an Oracle deck is, right? I got the beautiful Wisdom of the Oracle. Which card do you want? But we know what an Oracle deck is, right? I love Oracle decks. I have it right here on my desk in my office. But sometimes I want to use nature as an Oracle deck. So I will ask a specific question before I go out on a walk. I'll ask, please give me guidance on the next step in my business. I don't know. Okay, so then I'm going to go on my walk and I'm going to look for 3 things or 5 things or 10, whatever, however many cards you want to pull. You're going to look for 3 things that stand out. So the other day I went surfing, and as I was crossing the boardwalk, I said to myself, well, before I crossed the boardwalk, I was thinking about my grandpa, and I was thinking about some things that I wanted help with and support with. And I was like, Gramps, you could just chime on in anytime, okay? And I didn't really hear anything. As I'm walking over the boardwalk to get to where I'm going to go surf, what do I see on the boardwalk? Of course, my grandpa's symbol, a red cardinal. A red cardinal just sitting there, a couple feet away from me. Release, okay? So this is what we do on Nature's Oracle. You ask your question, you go out into nature, and you pick, let's just say 3 things that stand out to you. Perhaps it's a red cardinal or a certain flower or a certain tree or maybe it's a person that actually comes up on your walk. Maybe it's a friend, whatever it might be. And you're going to write those things down. You can either write it on a note card or whatever it might be. And then you're either going to have, so for me, like I said, the red cardinal means my grandpa is present. So if I were to see the red cardinal, I'm like, okay, my grandpa is present. And then I might see two other things, a butterfly, which signifies transformation. And then I might see a bunny, okay, which symbolizes fertility and rebirth, right? So I'm like, okay, my grandpa is helping me with this transformation that I'm going to be going through, where I'm going to be rebirthing my identity. This actually was a pull that I just had a couple of weeks ago. So that is how nature's oracle works. You can either decide what those symbols mean for you, or you can look them up and see what it is culturally they mean for your culture or your practices, right? So sometimes different animals will mean something different in different cultures depending on where you are in the world. So those are some great ways to connect with your spirit guides. The other is journaling. So you have some journaling prompts, amazing, that you can use to connect with your guides. Another way is to simply just write a question down and then free write the answer as if you were channeling whatever guide that you're asking. Allow them to write through you. This is a great way to connect with your guides. So the last thing that I'm going to talk about is, for when you're connecting with your spirit guides, is how do you create a sacred space for this? There's a few ways. You can create an altar. Okay, this is not an altar. This is I own an apothecary and this is my workspace, all right? But I probably should have picked a better background. It is what it is. So I have an altar over here. You just can't see it. But I also have an ancestor altar in my front way. When you walk in, it's like, hello everybody. So you can create a space, or if you're like, ooh, I'm still in the closet with my spirituality and I'm not sure I want to do that. What I used to do is I used to have a basket. So before I had space, really, I created a little basket. And in that basket, I actually might have that basket, that's why I'm looking around, but I think it's somewhere else. So I created a little basket and had a few crystals in it, had my journal in it, it had my oracle deck in it. It had just a few little things in it to help me connect with my guides. And what it was just like a little altar, if you will, that I would just fold everything up, put it in my basket, and just kind of like tuck it under my bed or put it away. And then when I wanted to connect, I would bring everything out. I would make my little space, and that's where I would connect with my guides. So I want you to know that you don't have to have some grand thing. It could just be you sitting outside on your patio. It could just be a little basket, like I said. It could be, when you open your journal up, that's when you're setting the intention to connect. Like I said before, there are millions of ways for you to connect. Don't get caught up on on Instagram aesthetics, on Pinterest aesthetics. Don't get caught up on that, because for the most part, your spirituality is probably not going to be aesthetic, okay? It's probably not. So do whatever you feel is best and whatever works for you and your family. If you've got like 4 kids running around like crazy, an altar might not be the way to go right now. But maybe a little basket that you can place out when everybody's, asleep or calm or whatever it is, and you take your space, then you put everything back up and you put it away. It could be a drawer. I have some drawers here on my desk. You could have a little space in your drawer. It does not matter. There are some, when you're building altars, there are some rules, I would say, and you do the best you can with the information you have, and then you can change and shift as you grow in your spiritual practices, okay? So that's really important for you to remember. The biggest thing is that you have to trust that the messages that are coming through are for you, all right? So have patience, keep going, and if it's feeling hard to connect, keep going. It will feel easier. It's the same when we're connecting to our intuition, when we're connecting to ourselves, when we're learning to connect to our children or to our partners. It's a relationship. You're building a relationship. So don't give up. Allow yourself time. And if you have any questions, like I said, feel free to send them over. Email, Instagram, all the ways we could communicate. And let me know how your meditation goes, because I'm very excited to hear about all of the ways that all of you are connecting with your own guides.